Hi, this is Jessica Whitten, and this is my thematic unit for EDCI 522. It's a short story unit focusing on To Build a Fire by Jack London. I have delivered this thematic unit before to a group of ninth graders, and they enjoyed it. So that's the reason that I decided to do my thematic unit around it. It's designed for ninth graders. The duration of the thematic unit is about 3 weeks on a 45-minute daily period schedule. So the introduction page basically just has an introduction about the thematic unit, and the items you see here are the main objectives that will be covered on the lessons included. So this will give an idea for the students or parents who are looking at the website, so they will have an idea of what to expect for this thematic unit or for the lesson plan unit. On to meet the teacher. This is a picture of me, and I included a little bit of information about myself and my education, my professional experience, and what I like to do outside of the classroom. I've also included a quote by Collins and Halverson, who are the authors of Rethinking Education in the Age of Technology, which is the book that we've been reading throughout the class. So I included that there just because it's a quote that I can identify with and that I thought would be good to share right there. On to the lessons. First of all, there's a picture of the book cover, and if you click on it, it'll take you to Amazon, where the book can be downloaded. The Kindle version can be downloaded for 99 cents, or the audio book can be downloaded for 49 cents. For each lesson, I have lessons 1 through 10, and for each lesson, I've listed the standards that go along with the lesson. Also within the lesson activities, I've also linked any forms, documents, or links to websites that will be used and needed for each lesson. So the first lesson will be a pre-assessment, and then which they would take on SurveyMonkey. So it's about 8 questions with information about the setting, just gauging their background knowledge about the setting that the book will take place in, and some vocabulary words to help them to understand the book. Also using Padlet, they're making predictions based on the cover image of the book. So they would just go here on Padlet and post their predictions here, and we would go back to that later on to see if our predictions are right. And there's another activity on Padlet where they're brainstorming and collaborating to create a supply list for winter camping and hiking. So that is linked there. The second lesson, they'll start reading the book, and they will get a guided reading packet, which they will use in the end for a study guide for the post-assessment. The guided reading packet will be used as we read the book. This is something they can fill in as they're reading the book to help them stay engaged and to be looking for information to help them with their comprehension, reading comprehension. And it'll also be reviewed at the end of the book to make sure that they all have the information filled in. Lesson number 3, there's going to be a YouTube video about elements of a story, so that link is right there, and that's through vocabulary. And then there is elements of a story worksheet. So this, they get an overview about the elements, and then this, they're going to be exploring the different elements of the story as they are reading the book. So that would start there. Lesson 4, they have a blog question. So there's a class blog where their blog questions are going to be posted, so they just go right on there and answer that question. And then they're going to do a character activity. So exploring the character traits, and that will just download, and you could go here to go directly or have it downloaded, or you could go here. So they're listed in two places. I just figured that linking them inside the lesson is easier to follow than, you know, if I would have just listed it out here and then you have to go over here and look and figure out which one it is. And then lesson 5, there's another blog posting that they'll need to do, and they'll continue reading the book. By lesson 6, they should be finished with the book, and they are going to watch a video on YouTube to build a fire. And it's a 50-minute video, so it should be broken up between 2 classes. And on the days that they're going to watch the video, on lesson 6 and 7, they have exit tickets. So it'll just be a question on an exit ticket to make sure that they are paying attention. And the exit tickets are over here, exit ticket here. And here are the questions are listed on here, and then they just have an exit ticket that they're writing it on the answer on the form. Lesson 7, again, they're watching the video. Lesson 8 is a prep day for their assessment, which is going to be on the next day. So there's vocabulary words on Quizlet. They can use their guided reading notes and their elements of a story packet. Those are all the resources that they can use to prepare for their test, which is on the next day. And on the lesson number 9 is their formal post-assessment, which is a document that is attached here as well as on the other side of the screen at the top. And then after the assessment, there is a summative assessment project where they're getting into groups and they are collaborating, and they are coming up with a presentation or tutorial session about winter camping and hiking for a man and a dog. So they'll be presenting survival skills and things to know. So this is the real world problem that they would be working on. And they can use, they have creative freedom to use a mode of presentation that they would like. They can use PowerPoint, they could use Prezi, they could make a video, they could use a collection of YouTube videos, they can act out scenarios, they can bring in an expert. And then there's also a rubric that's attached to set up the guidelines that they would need to follow. So there is the rubric. Assessments. These are all also on the lessons page, but I've also put them on the assessments page. So the pre-assessment on SurveyMonkey, and all the other assessments that were included in the lessons are there. Here are the standards that I've used throughout the lesson: the Common Core Standards for Language Arts, NETS S for students, NETS T for teachers, and then P21 standards. And these are all matched to the lesson on the lesson page. These are all the technologies that I've used, and we're required to have 6, but of course I end up having more. And I'm sure you'll see, you know, when you were doing your project, that it was easy to end up using more than 6 technology sources. So I used Weebly to create the web presence, SurveyMonkey to create my pre-assessment, YouTube for some of the videos that I used to show to the class, and also for my screencast, my Screen-O-Matic, sorry. I used Quizlet for vocabulary words for them to prepare for their post-assessment. I used Rubistar to create the rubric for their summative assessment presentation project. Screen-O-Matic is what I'm using right now to make the video overview. Google Docs I created peer review on. Padlet is what I use for them to put their predictions and their brainstorming ideas on. The blog is what what I use for their essential questions, for them to give them a place to put their essential questions, and then Amazon.com for the source to download the book or audiobook. Peer review survey. Here is my peer review, and I just got some questions on here to help provide feedback to me about the thematic unit, and any suggestions you can give that would improve it would be great. Any positive things that you saw or noticed in the thematic unit in the website, if you could put those, that would be great as well. And good luck to you on your thematic unit. Thanks. Bye.